to be honest, I don't differentiate between my life and my
Yeah.
programming life. So
Okay, both is filled with bugs.
both.
Hello guys, welcome back to GDE. Today is one of the most important video that we are making. With me, I have my friend Syed Ali, who recently became a Google GDE in Flutter. Follow my man Syed Ali on Twitter. Today in this video, he will be telling how he became a GDE and the steps that he took, his contribution and the path that he went. Because many developers like me, we want to know how we can become GDE. So Syed, start with yourself as introduction.
Hello,
Yes.
hi everyone, and thank you, Sharif, for having me on your channel today. Welcome everybody.
Hi. So before going on, Syed, I would like you to introduce yourself. Tell our viewers your background and how you went into development, and just start with a normal formal introduction.
Okay, so hello everyone, and so I started mobile application development in 2014. So I started as an Android developer, and at that time I was in high school, and the first thing that I had in mind at that time is I want to do and build something that people can use. And since then, I've been experimenting with Android native development. I published around 10 applications. I also went through development in iOS as a native developer also. And in around 2018, I was introduced to Flutter at the first time. And at that time, I felt in love with the way that Flutter works.
Flutter is cool.
Yeah, it solved the problems that I used to have, you can say. So I started developing and experimenting at first. At the beginning, I was a bit suspicious. I thought it was maybe a little bit over-promising.
Too good to be true kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. And but since I started developing, I started integrating it simply into my applications. I started taking small projects and trying Flutter out with small projects. And it was the right platform to develop this kind of applications and challenges that we have currently. And since then, I am an Android, iOS, and Flutter, and my focus was shifted to more into Flutter than the native development.
Nice. So moving on to next question. How was your schooling experience, and in which school or college were you, and did you have programming courses in your schooling?
Okay, so I went to a university first of all, I'm from Kingdom of Bahrain. It's a small island in the Arabian Gulf.
Nice.
And so we had a university called Bahrain Polytechnic. At that university, we don't have computer science, but we have a similar program which is focused on programming. So the title of that college or that degree is information technologies in programming. So the focus also of that university is to do more practical than theoretical learning. So I started my journey with Java at university, and we had a course on mobile development, which was the most fun course for me, of course.
Nice.
But it was in Swift, iOS Swift. As the university were looking at either native Android or native iOS at that time, Flutter was not as popular, or I don't think it existed at that time.
It didn't exist at that time.
Yeah.
Lucky to be alive in a period where we and Flutter are coexisting.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a very fun experience. Like Flutter and developing, like studying mobile development at university gave me a lot of, let's say, opportunities to try and let's say introduce my experience in platforms such as Firebase, which was kind of new for university teachers and doctors in that university, where they are all in the, let's say, the mindset of let's build everything from scratch. So if we are building a course in mobile development, it will be helpful to focus on mobile development and have something like a backend as a service like Firebase. So it was quite fun.
Yeah. So why did you choose programming to be your career?
So for me personally, I always love to explore things and try to invent something new. This is me as a kid before I was introduced to programming.
Well, we are still
So
kid in the programming world.
yeah.
At least I am.
Yeah, so I wanted to create something, and I wanted this something to be useful. So in at that time, let's say at school, there was no education, a proper education. What is, or at least at my time at school, what is coding or what is IT in general. And so I had my, I think my second phone, which was an Android phone, and I was like, oh, these apps, I think I can do something. How they are built, it's just
Fascinating stuff.
curiosity. Yeah, it's fascinating. Like I can do a
Yeah.
lot of things. I can there was a lot of tools, and at that time I was exploring a lot of these kind of tools, like a ruler or these kind of simple applications were fascinating at the beginning for me at a young age. And I started Googling, I remember, on how to build one. And at that time, I was introduced to programming, and I was hooked to build. I tried to build at least one application to try it out. And things moved on from that. So.
Okay. And what made you shift to Flutter?
Okay, so
Or let me frame my question. When did you got to know that there is a framework called as Flutter?
sorry.
When did you came to know, or how did you came to know about Flutter?
Okay, so I was introduced first to Flutter when so there was a chapter, a GDG chapter in our city, which is Manama, and there was a session, just introduction to what is Flutter and things like that. So I heard about it before, but at that time, as a native developer, I will not look at any kind of framework such Hybrid or anything like that. But I attended that event, lucky for me, and I had my laptop with me, and I just opened my laptop and started experimenting while the session was happening. And I was like, oh my God, I was able to do these kind of things. It is really nice. I need to give it a shot.
Yeah.
So this was my first interaction with Flutter.
Okay. So, and like we both know that in school, we don't have Flutter courses, right? All that we have, that is from YouTube and from the blogs and Flutter documents. So how did you grasp or learn Flutter? What was your resources to learn Flutter?
Okay, so this was one of the key points that I was focused on before deciding to move to Flutter as a main development, let's say, framework for my projects. That where would I learn? Does it has a good community? So I looked at the documentation. The documentation was very well written. Like
Yes.
it was very well written and very clear for me, at
See,
least.
I have read the Android documentation, so I know Flutter docs is very well written. Yeah, the team has taken quite an effort in that.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
also in the Android, from the Android world, the documentations, most of it is might be take a lot of time to be
Yeah.
updated. And you mostly don't read the documentation. Mostly you depend on Stack Overflow.
Our savior, you know.
Yeah, it might be easier for you in developing an Android, but it was the other way around in Flutter. The documentation was very helpful. And one thing also was, so I was interested in how the platform actually works. So I started looking at, so Flutter is an open source project, so you can have the access to the code. And at that time, maybe my knowledge was not as good as now, but I try to see, let's say, the issues in GitHub, try to understand what kind of things I will be facing. This helped me a lot when choosing the platform. Are these issues are major or small? How the people or the community are dealing with it? Are they fixing it fast? Things like that.
Okay. So, like many people say that you should take a sample project and learn a new framework. So, did you do that way, or you just first read the documents, then you learned the language, and then you did a project? What was your way?
So my way is I will first read in general why is this platform or this framework is good at, or why it's being built. I try to understand the reasons.
So you're kind of a theory guy.
At the beginning, so I don't waste a lot of time, to be honest, on that, but I try to understand. So let's say, for example, in Flutter, so I try to understand that the motivation here is to build a framework that develops a great UI and UX.
Yeah.
So I assume once I'm going to try it on a sample project, that this is what I'm expecting.
Yes.
So I set my, let's say, my perspective on what are the things that I should focus on. Is this frameworks are filling it up? What are the things that are this framework is powerful in, and what are the things are it's not powerful in? And I learn mostly by trying a simple project again also. And while I'm doing the project, whenever I do something, I will go and read the documentation and try to understand how I will do this better in performance.
Okay.
Just for me to understand if the way that I did so, I would watch a tutorial or I would read a way how to do something like adding a button or adding a slideshow. And I will try to read also how to improve that.
Okay.
What would be my way to improve that?
Okay. How was your first experience about building a Flutter app? How many problems you faced, the errors that you had to encounter, or what the app was, your overall experience?
Okay, so my first application that I started working on, I faced a kind of a small issue. It is a normal issue in the mobile development world where Apple decides to update, let's say, Xcode or things like that. And it happened to me while I'm developing the project. And
I can feel that pain right now. I can actually feel that pain.
Yeah, and at that time it was a little bit stressful for me to see, okay, I have to upgrade Xcode. I'm not sure if Flutter is going to support it in a good way, and I have a client that is waiting for me to submit the application. So thank God, and this is something that I'm really happy in Flutter that once the update was published by Apple, they were able to quickly adapt to it. I didn't face that issue for a long time, so it was just for maybe a couple days, and it was solved by Flutter. So this is what also made me keep working on Flutter.
And what was the app about?
So that app was a rating app, so a local guide for all types of businesses.
Okay. Was a blog app kind of, or?
So it's similar to Yelp.
Okay, yeah, got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. So you are recently being selected as a Google Developer Expert, GDE in Dart Flutter. So did you plan to be a GDE, or was that your driving force, or you just worked hard on yourself and let's see what happens? That kind of attitude you had.
Okay, so I heard about GDE when I started going to community events, and I had it as kind of a dream or a goal for me in my life. However,
So finally you achieved it.
yes, but however, I was not working towards getting that GDE itself. I was planning of becoming a GDE, like to match what a GDE would be like as a person, and then go and apply for it.
Okay. So most of my friends or most of the community which are active in Flutter, they want to know which is the best, and I won't say the easiest way, but a best way to become a GDE. And even I have this question. So can you elaborate that answer? Like, what do you want the people to take action so that they can become a GDE in a proper, better way? Or
Okay,
what was your
so
experience?
okay, so from my experience, there's two parts to how to become a GDE. The first part is the technical part. So you need to demonstrate that you are able to have the technical knowledge
Okay.
and be able to explain it. So this is also something that is very hard to do, to explain a complex concept in Flutter in an easy and understandable way. Uh, the second part is to try to make a huge impact on your community.
Okay.
Uh, by that, I mean arrange for workshops, online events, mentorship programs, and try to bring people to introduce people to Flutter. Uh, and one of the things that I have done, and I think it helped me a lot also, is that I focused on people in university,
Okay.
uh, where I've been mentoring them into how they can publish their first app, because I think this is more valuable than trying to finish as many courses as possible online about Flutter. I would take the approach where I would mentor a group of students into publishing an app on the store, and that app they will also understand how they can. Okay. So my advice, or the way I have been trying to increase my community impact, was by trying to mentor university students into publishing mobile applications. And this was my advice to them, and I helped them step by step also to publish an app, even if it's at an early stage, just for them to have this kind of reward, and they start updating and publishing updates on it. This is kind of the thing that I focused on when I was mentoring these kind of students. And I had a success story of, let's say, a 13 years old who attended one of my workshops, and
Ooh,
for
nice.
yeah, and he was very smart, and I noticed that. So I actually pushed to get him to publish his first app in Flutter. And he later on, even by himself, he started publishing apps and trying to build more and more apps and more complex apps.
Okay,
So
so you should have a technical knowledge and the impact on community. These are two of the main things that will help you to become a GDE. And let's say by community impact, do you mean like creating videos or Twitter or blogging?
yes, so also this is part of the community impact, which is having some content, high quality content on YouTube, blog posts, and on social media in general. Usually, a GDE would be someone who is, at least, let's say, kind of famous in his area,
Yeah.
and he has some kind of influence on the community. So these kind of things will help a lot on that side.
Okay, nice. So what is the difference? Like, I think it's been 10 days that you have been a GDE, right? If I'm not wrong. So before a GDE and after a GDE, what is the difference in your life? Like, do people give you some extra projects for your credentiality, or it's just normal?
So yeah, I have been a GDE since I think I completed 1 month now.
Oh, it's 1 month now. Sorry, my
Yeah,
bad. Yeah.
that's okay. So for me, it's not much difference in terms of how people are treating me, because I think it was kind of it's the same view of how people used to see me before becoming a GDE, and I'm still doing similar things. The thing that changed for me personally, which is something I really appreciate, which is having a connection of networking, a networking possibility with all other GDEs in the world, and you enjoy talking to like-minded people.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Yes.
so this is the kind of thing that changed to me myself. People from let's say at least my community, uh, to be honest, they don't see a GDE as something. Mostly technical people look at GDE as something that they would look for.
Yeah, my question was like, when a client gives you a project, so like, oh, you're a GDE, so you might have trust on you. Like, you don't have to prove yourself now, right? Or is it the same like before?
Honestly, maybe because it's only 1 month now, but I didn't notice any difference, to be honest.
Okay, no problem. But I think you would notice a major change in your life. Yeah. So as we are new developers, we are still into this developing field. So what is your advice for us? How we can become good developers or good programmers? Which path we should take to better ourselves?
Okay, so this is kind of a tricky question.
Yeah.
So, so my advice to young developers that honestly, if you hear the stories of even other GDEs and people who are advanced in, uh, let's say, programming, everyone have its own path,
Yes.
have his own path. So my advice would be is to try to deliver things.
Okay.
This is my way of doing things. So if I want to learn, let's say, a new framework that just have been published today and it's promising, I would try to find any project that I can do and try to, if it fits that platform, I will try to build it on it. And by that, I will be building on something that I can actually test in production rather than doing sample projects and keeping it, let's say, for my own. And also, you never know, maybe that application will be successful and you might be
Yeah.
get money out of it or something.
Yes. Okay. So mm, okay, what you do when you get that one bug which has no response on Stack Overflow and it's been entire night you are struggling to solve it. I hope you have been through that part because I am going through a lot from that patches.
We all been we all been there. Yes. So at, in that point, in that situation, what I would do is try to understand what's going on. So usually in frameworks like Flutter or even in Android, what I'm calling, so my issue may probably going to be I'm calling a function in that SDK or framework. So if I didn't find an answer, of course, I will look at the answer first at my Google.
Yeah,
Um,
Google.
and the Stack Overflow will probably have it. But in that situation itself, I would go and try to understand what's happening in the background. I will spend that time understanding exactly what's going on. And by that, I will probably get at least a lead to
Okay.
where my issue would be, or it will be solving my issue. So I would look at, and luckily, like Flutter and even Android has, let's say, it's an open source, so
Yes.
you will be able to go through it, and no worries, even if you didn't fully understand what's going on. Most programming languages are similar, so
Yeah.
you can at least have a sense of what's going on.
So what are your take on open source contribution?
So yeah, I always encourage people to go and contribute on open source projects. And for me, at least, I can see once I started developing for Android in 2015, and until now, I can see a huge improvement on platforms like Android that wouldn't have happened if it was not open source, in my opinion. This improvement because people all around the world will be collaborating together, and everyone has his own solution, and you will increase your learning, you will increase your even enjoy your experience. So you will see people are trying to solve the same issue in two different ways. And all of this is part of the fun of becoming a programmer. So I would highly encourage people to try to contribute on open source projects.
Okay, so you are a early bird programmer or a night owl programmer?
Oh, I'm a night programmer. So, yeah, so I enjoy coding at night, to be honest.
A cup of coffee, laptop, lights dim, and focused on our work completely, right?
Exactly, until the sunrise.
You do you work somewhere? You have your own business? What is your profile right now?
So I just recently changed my job. So in the last 2 years, I've been working in a bank, a neo bank. So
Okay,
a neo bank is app only bank. So they have it's called ILA,
a kind of a
and
fintech company.
it's a fintech, but it's a bank that's only exists in your application.
Okay,
So it's an only application app, and at that time it was the beginning of uh, the foundation years of that project. So I've been working for 2 years on that application and in that bank. And however, recently I just changed my job to a different challenge.
nice, nice, nice. Congratulations on the switch.
Thank you.
How can we give back to the community?
Oh, so this is an interesting topic. So
Because many people ask this question, like on my Twitter feed, and even my students they ask me, "Sir, you say give back to community, but how can we give back to community?" So I just thought of putting that question in front of you as well. So I will get an
so
answer to tell them. That's it.
it's okay. So honestly, the reason, one of the reasons I joined also program, I chose programming as a major in university, was I was also in a community for game development at that time, and the way that I was treated in that community, and people uh, will be humble enough to
Yes.
explain to me as a small kid who's just asking, maybe at that time for me, it was basic questions for them. And the way that they treated me and the way that they actually gave me the time to explain to me these things, for me, the way that I want to give back to the community, it's the same way I was treated by the community. So one of the things I had in mind when I was at that age is that when I grow up, I will do the same way that these people have done to me. And all the benefits, all the good things that they taught me, I will try to do the same way. So even if you watch a YouTube video for someone who's explaining a topic that it was very useful for you,
Okay. Yeah.
simply by like and share is also let's
Yeah,
say
yeah. Say that again. Say
kind
that
of
again. Yeah, yeah.
support.
We need this like and
Yeah, so like and share and subscribe is one of the ways to contribute back to that person who actually putting the effort and
yes.
putting his time and
See. So guys, we are putting a lot of time. It is actually 12 at midnight. And if you want to become a GDE, please like and subscribe this channel and this video. That is the only way now.
you, you.
Getting back, which is that one thing that motivates you or inspires you as to become good in your life?
To become good in life in general, like
In general, not just in development, in general overall.
Okay, so yeah, it's to be honest, I don't differentiate between my life and my programming life. So
okay, both is filled with bugs.
both are agile, I can say. So yeah, so what motivates me mostly is the reaction of my, let's say, my actions. So this is also something that motivates me to go into programming. So when I published my first application, I thought no one would use it, honestly. And I removed it from the store for a while. I was surprised of people like emailing me, oh, why did you remove it, return it back? And this motivates me. Yeah, this motivates me a lot to, oh, okay, so what I'm doing is going to impact someone, or someone is using it. So this is what impacts me too in life, to be honest.
What are your future plans, and what steps you will be taking to achieve them? This is kind of a serious question, you know.
Yeah, so my future plans, so this is a hard question.
Haven't figured out yet, still planning.
So I don't have a very long term. Well, I do have really long term goals. However, my goals are mostly changeable. So let's say I usually have a 3 month, 6 month goals, and after that, I will probably be a different person at that time and have different ideas. So I try to keep my goals very short, and I wait until I achieve them to try to build up on them another goal. But the trick here is always to build up and not to try to choose a different path unless you reach the point where you want to change your whole life. But for me, I've been on the same path for a long time and I'm comfortable with it.
It's good because you're actually achieving good things. So your path is nice. You're working hard, as we can see. So what are some of the points that you can tell us that how we can be most productive in our work?
Okay, so one of the things I try to tell, let's say, people I work with a lot is don't be afraid to fail.
Okay.
So there is I can see a lot of people who are too afraid to publish an application because it is not good enough in their opinions. Although from someone who doesn't know what they were aiming to or the goal or what is the, let's say, how the designer have imagined it, it won't make a huge difference for them because they don't know what is the perfect thing for them. So I would say, don't be afraid to fail. Try. And while you're trying, even if you fail, this failure, you will learn a lot from this failure.
Yes.
You will actually learn more. So yeah, and honestly, even my first application that I have published, I had to redo the whole code. It was at that time, my knowledge was very simple, so I did a lot of mistakes, and I reached a point where I said, okay, I need to rebuild the whole project.
But you did that. I would have just given up, like, okay, I don't care, let's do something else now.
Actually, I wouldn't do that normally, but the thing is, because I published the app and I saw a lot of people are using it, and I started getting people, and I think at that time 10, 20, 30,000, something like that downloads. So
okay, that is not even my combined download ratio right now.
Yeah, right now it's probably more than 2.5 million. So
Nice, nice. Congratulations.
thank you very much. So at that time, I was like, oh, so there is a lot of, I will get a lot of feedback from these people, and I will learn more rather than just giving up on that project and going to a new project. So this is the kind of mentality I tried to adapt in that situation.
Nice. So, anything else that you want to speak from your side that would actually help us in the community and to make us better?
Uh, yeah, I would say one thing, and this is something that I also like about Flutter. So, uh, the Flutter team can say, and people who are learning Flutter. So, Flutter is a relatively new framework. So, and a lot of us are still learning, and even people who are experts, they might not know everything. And
Okay.
I would probably say no one knows everything about
Yes.
Flutter. So it's totally normal to not know something. And um, it's not, let's say, um, try not to be competitive where I want to learn everything, every single thing. Because you will trick yourself out knowing that, oh, I know everything now. I don't need to learn more. On things like Flutter and Android or even generic frameworks, they are changing a lot. And if you had that mindset, in my personal opinion, I don't think you will be able to uh, learn when something new happens. And if you take a long, let's say, break out of learning what's new and updates and trying them, you might miss out a lot.
Yeah.
so so always keep in mind that there is always a place to learn new things, and um, try to have fun doing
Yeah.
that.
Try to have fun. That is one of the most important part, that we should always have fun no matter what we're doing. From fun, I remember you might have heard about the new Flutter puzzle challenge, right?
Yes.
So are you
uh,
taking part in it?
uh, um, Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm still.
so
Yeah, it's a really interesting challenge,
yes.
and I really like the idea, and I encourage everyone to participate in it, even if it's not for the purpose of winning. Let's say, just the participation is a good step to mark it as I participated in something, and you challenge yourself. For me personally, I'm thinking of, let's say, participating.
Winning the competition.
No, I think I I will try to participate. However, I might not have the time, but
Okay.
I will try to.
Okay. So I think I would conclude this interview. First of all, thanks, Syed Ali, for reviewing your precious time and helping me and my fellow developers on sharing your story of how you became a GDE and how we can contribute back to the community, and sharing your journey from start to end, from your schooling and everything. We are really glad that Google has selected developers like you, and Google is actually doing their nice job in picking up the gems from all the people that are present out there. So we are very happy to have you as a GD in Flutter. So thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Shiri, and it was an honor for me to be on your channel,
Oh, it
and of course, and it was nice meeting you.
yes, thank you, thank you.